Welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into the most scandalous, heart-stopping, and explosive moments of your favorite daytime dramas. Today is a truly fantastic day to unpack the shocking developments brewing in Los Angeles. The fashion world is bracing for a seismic shift, and we have all the thrilling details. Let's jump right into the latest shockwaves hitting the canvas. The shifting balance of power in Los Angeles has never been more palpable, and the upcoming June 2nd, 2026 episode of The Bold and the Beautiful promises to deliver an absolute masterclass in corporate warfare, secret alliances, and bitter family rivalries. At the very center of this rapidly unfolding drama is the meteoric rise of the Logan fashion brand, a venture that has quickly evolved from a passionate passion project into a ruthless, unstoppable corporate juggernaut, meticulously designed to dismantle Forrester Creations piece by piece. Bill Spencer, the undisputed mastermind behind this aggressive and hostile expansion, is orchestrating a brilliant symphony of revenge and triumph. As the final pieces of his grand puzzle fall perfectly into place, the Spencer-Logan alliance is gathering an overwhelming momentum, drawing in discarded talents and alienated family members to build an empire that threatens to cast a permanent, suffocating shadow over the legendary legacy of Eric Forrester. The stakes have never been higher, and the atmosphere is incredibly thick with anticipation as secret contracts are signed and battle lines are irrevocably drawn in the sand. One of the most compelling and deeply emotional arcs in this unfolding saga belongs to Deke Sharp. For agonizing months, Deke has been wandering through a bleak professional wasteland, his confidence utterly shattered after being unceremoniously fired from Forrester Creations due to arbitrary budget cuts. He had begun to severely doubt his own talent, wondering in the dark hours of the night if his dreams of becoming a leading force in the cutthroat fashion industry were nothing more than a foolish, unattainable fantasy. However, the tides of fate have dramatically and beautifully turned in his favor. Hope Logan Spencer, having finally reached her absolute breaking point with Steffy Forrester Finnegan's condescending and oppressive leadership, has officially signed a covert contract to launch a rival line at the Logan brand. But Hope, demonstrating a newfound ruthless loyalty to those who believe in her, made her defection contingent on one non-negotiable condition: Deke Sharp must be brought onto the team. When Bill Spencer and Katie Logan Spencer eagerly agree to this stipulation, Deke is overwhelmed with a profound sense of exhilaration. This is the ultimate validation he has been desperately craving. The sheer joy of finally being recognized for his unique creative vision breathes new life into his weary soul, setting the grand stage for a spectacular professional rebirth. Despite the intoxicating thrill of this monumental career breakthrough, the harsh reality of their situation demands absolute, suffocating secrecy. Hope, Bill, and Katie are acutely aware that their covert operation is a ticking time bomb waiting to detonate. If Steffi or Ridge Forrester were to discover that Hope is actively poaching top talent and designing a rival line while still technically tied to the Forrester legacy, the ensuing public relations nightmare and vicious legal retaliation would be catastrophic. Therefore, a strict, unbreakable pact of silence is enforced within the sleek walls of the Logan executive offices. Bill, utilizing his trademark intimidating glare, and Katie, with her sharp strategic pragmatism, drill into Deke and Hope the absolute necessity of keeping their lips sealed. Every single sketch, every fabric swatch, and every hush conversation must remain entirely off the radar until the trap is fully set and the Logan brand is ready to launch its devastating strike. The tension in the room is electric, a thrilling, dangerous mix of creative passion and the adrenaline of high-stakes corporate espionage. Deke willingly accepts this heavy burden, understanding completely that the greatest triumph of his life must remain hidden in the shadows for just a little while longer. However, the best-laid plans of the Spencer-Logan alliance are already facing a severe, unseen threat in the terrifying form of Remy Price. Remy's dark, obsessive nature has recently been amplified by his chilling new alliance with the equally psychopathic Sheila Carter. Remy is entirely consumed by a singular, toxic desire to force his way back into Deke's life, and his relentless, predatory stalking poses a massive risk to the closely guarded secrets of the Logan brand. Hope and Deke have been utilizing a private, discreet entrance to access the Logan Design Studios, falsely believing themselves to be safe from prying eyes. But Remy is nothing if not persistent and cunning. The chilling possibility that Remy will quietly follow them, lurking in the shadows and observing their clandestine meetings, adds a layer of intense psychological horror to the narrative. Remy is a master of emotional manipulation, and discovering Deke's secret employment at Logan would give him the ultimate devastating weapon. If Remy uncovers the truth about Deke and Hope's covert fashion line, the consequences could be utterly disastrous for everyone involved. Armed with this highly explosive information, Remy would not hesitate for a single second to resort to vicious, calculated blackmail. We have already witnessed the horrifying depths of Remy's depravity, from orchestrating the deeply traumatic deepfake videos targeting Elektra Forster to his sinister, coercive maneuvering alongside his cousin, Melissa Dillon. It is entirely plausible, and frankly expected, that Remy will corner Deke, threatening to expose the entire Logan operation to the wrathful Steffy and Ridge unless Deke submits to a forced, twisted romantic relationship. The dramatic irony is palpable and heartbreaking. Just as Deke achieves his greatest professional victory, he finds himself trapped in a nightmarish web spun by a relentless stalker. The psychological toll on Deke will be immense as he desperately attempts to balance his soaring creative ambitions with the terrifying reality of being hunted by a man who refuses to accept reality. Meanwhile, across town, the shockwaves of another massive, life-altering development are ripping through the Forrester and Spencer families. Well, Spencer has just been officially and coldly fired from Forrester Creations. The termination is the direct, brutal result of a violent, explosive altercation at the Bikini Bar, where Will, pushed far beyond his limits by R.J. Forrester's toxic, relentless arrogance, delivered a brutal punch that left R.J. with severely bruised ribs. R.J. triumphantly and maliciously leveraged this physical assault to force Ridge and Steffy's hand, demanding Will's immediate, humiliating removal from the company. The aftermath of this firing is emotionally charged and deeply tragic. Will's first agonizing task is breaking the devastating news to Elektra Forrester. Their recently reconciled relationship is already incredibly fragile, and Will's termination adds a crushing, suffocating weight to their romance. Elektra is horrified by the violent details of the assault, feeling deeply trapped in the escalating, vicious crossfire between her family and the Spencers. Will attempts to downplay the incident and shift the blame entirely onto RJ's provocation, but the toxic seeds of doubt have already been firmly planted in Elektra's anxious mind. Following the incredibly tense and heartbreaking conversation with Elektra, Will returns to the ultimate sanctuary of his parents, Bill and Katie. The scene in Bill's lavish, imposing executive office is poised to be a masterclass in shifting familial dynamics and raw emotional power. When Will delivers the shocking news of his termination, the initial wave of surprise quickly transforms into a fierce, impenetrable, unified front of Spencer solidarity. Rather than viewing the firing as a defeat or a mark of shame, Bill and Katie immediately reframe the narrative to empower their son. In their eyes, this is not Will's failure. It is a monumental, inexcusable loss for Forrester Creations. They view Ridge and Steffy's decision as a glaring symptom of their incompetent, heavily biased leadership, blindly prioritizing the entitled RJ over Will's undeniable, raw potential. The familial bond between the Spencers strengthens exponentially in the face of this adversity, transforming a moment of potential humiliation into a powerful, dangerous catalyst for retaliation. Never one to miss a golden opportunity to strike at his enemies, Bill Spencer acts with ruthless, lightning-fast precision. Without a single moment's hesitation, Bill formally offers his son a prominent, highly lucrative position within the rapidly expanding Logan brand. This is a brilliant, devastating strategic maneuver, effectively weaponizing Will's termination against the Forresters. By bringing Will into the fold, Bill not only secures his son's future, but also sends a clear, aggressive, and mocking message to Ridge Forrester. Bill uses this moment to viciously critique Ridge's inability to manage his own company and his own fractured family. He views Ridge as a weak, indecisive leader who allows his arrogant daughter and entitled son to dictate corporate policy to the detriment of the business. For Bill, rescuing Will from the toxic, nepotistic environment of Forrester Creations is a massive, celebrated victory, a righteous liberation that proves the undeniable superiority of the Spencer way of doing business. For Will, accepting his father's generous offer is not just about securing a paycheck or a fancy title. It is about securing the vast resources necessary to enact a cold, calculated, and absolute vengeance. The burning fury Will harbors toward R.J. Forrester is entirely consuming and dangerous. R.J.'s smug, mocking face as he delivered the news of the firing is permanently burned into Will's memory, fueling a dark and relentless desire for retribution. By joining the Logan Empire, Will is no longer an isolated, marginalized employee fighting against the massive Forrester machine from the inside. He is now a fully backed executive with the vast wealth, influence, and power of the Spencer family at his absolute disposal. The rivalry between Will and RJ is rapidly escalating from a petty, jealous dispute over a woman into an all-out, destructive corporate war. Will is determined to use his new position to systematically dismantle RJ's inflated ego and his burgeoning career, promising that the golden boy of Forrester Creations will bitterly regret the day he crossed the Spencer. Back at Forrester Creations, the atmosphere is far from triumphant, despite RJ's smug satisfaction. Ridge Forrester is quietly grappling with a profound, gnawing sense of guilt that threatens to consume him. While he presented a united, authoritative front with Steffy when firing Will, the harsh reality of the situation is beginning to weigh incredibly heavily on his conscience. Ridge has always prided himself on separating personal family drama from objective business decisions, but yielding to RJ's furious, emotional ultimatum was a clear, undeniable violation of that core principle. Furthermore, Ridge is actively attempting to bond with Hope Logan, completely unaware that she has already betrayed him and signed a contract with the enemy. Every genuine, paternal attempt Ridge makes to connect with Hope is laced with a tragic, sickening irony. As he remains oblivious to the dagger, she is carefully preparing to plunge into the back of his company. The heavy burden of leadership, combined with the constant, exhausting demands of Steffy's tyrannical reign, is slowly but surely fracturing Ridge's resolve. This creeping guilt and profound emotional exhaustion open the door to some truly tantalizing and shocking speculation regarding Ridge's future. As the pressure mounts and the toxicity within Forrester Creations reaches unbearable, suffocating levels, one must wonder if Ridge is rapidly approaching his absolute breaking point. Could the potent combination of his deep regret over firing Will, his impending heartbreak over Hope's massive betrayal, and his growing, silent frustration with Steffy's anti-Spencer obsession push him toward the unthinkable? While it may seem like a wild, impossible theory, the soap opera landscape is built on shocking twists and shattered loyalties. Could we eventually witness a scenario where a broken, deeply disillusioned Ridge Forrester actually defects, or at least surrenders, to the unstoppable momentum of the Logan brand? Stranger things have certainly happened in Los Angeles, and the emotional groundwork is subtly being laid for a massive, unprecedented shift in Ridge's loyalties that would shake the fashion world to its very core. As Ridge slowly crumbles under the immense weight of his own family's dysfunction, Bill Spencer's grand, ruthless vision is rapidly coming to glorious, terrifying fruition. The concept of the ultimate Spencer fold, is materializing into an indestructible reality right before our eyes. By gathering hope, Liam, Katie, Deke, and now, will under one unified, powerful corporate umbrella, Bill has created an absolute powerhouse that cannot be ignored. The synergy of their combined talents, fueled by a shared, burning desire to dominate the fashion industry and brutally punish Forster Creations, makes the Logan brand an existential threat to Eric Forster's legacy. And the expansion is far from over. With Wyatt Spencer actively contemplating a permanent return to Los Angeles to join the executive ranks, and Shauna Fulton bringing her own brand of chaotic brilliance to the table, the Spencer family is assembling an unstoppable army. Bill is reveling in his triumph, experiencing a profound, ruthless joy as he watches the foundation of his enemy's empire begin to crack, while his own dynasty thrives and expands beyond his wildest, most ambitious dreams. Yet, despite the current intoxicating wave of victories for the Spencer-Logan alliance, the foundation of their success is built on a highly fragile, explosive secret. The intense, feverish preparations for Hope and Deke's massive launch cannot remain hidden in the shadows forever. Rumors are already beginning to swirl, secrets are becoming harder to contain, and the whispers in the hallways of the fashion world are growing louder and more persistent by the day. Steffy's sharp, predatory intuition is already kicking in, and her growing suspicions threaten to expose the entire covert operation before Bill and Katie are fully ready to strike. The tension is stretching to its absolute, agonizing limit, creating an atmosphere of unbearable suspense. When the truth finally detonates, the fallout will be apocalyptic, shattering relationships, destroying careers, and forever altering the landscape of Los Angeles. The calm before the ultimate storm is rapidly dissipating,